Okay, today we're going to play two games. We're going to play what's in the box. We're going to play what's in the bag. Right now, what's in the box? So this currently is my DMR PI-Star Hotspot setup for taking out and about with me. It used to consist of the hotspot packed inside foam inside this bag, USB cable and a battery bank, and we'd click it up and away we go. What I want to do is make something neater that encompasses everything, the PI-Star hotspot, the battery bank all together, and just one flying cable coming out. I know there's going to be a problem with that because on the PI-Star the design of it is the USB comes out of one side and the antenna out the top, which makes it not very easy for putting in a slimline box. So I'm going to try and overcome that in the process. Anyway, what's in the box? Like I say, a load of this anti-static packing foam, and this tiny PI-Star. Oh, it looks like I've put an SD card holder in the bottom as well. So yeah, that's it. Let's put all that packaging back in there and lose the box. Right, so really this is all we have to package, and you can see that the PI-Star hotspot here actually has a USB sticking out one side and an antenna out the other, which makes it really awkward. Another possibility is you could put a right angle SMA connector there and bring it out sideways. What I'm looking to do probably is to identify on the pins here, which is 5 volts, which is 0 volts. I'll lose this all together and use a flying lead. So there it is, a working hotspot. At this stage I will say that I'm going to do another short video on the actual use of it with the cell phone, and the cell phone sharing out its connection via tethering, and what you see on the screen and what you have to do in the hotspot. There's plenty of other YouTubes out there that have all sorts of ways of configuring this with Brandmeister, etc. But I haven't seen anything that shows you what you can expect to see on the screen to know that it's working, because at the end of the day these things don't have screens on them. You rely on other devices, and there's a certain kind of way that you have to set it up to get it to work, and it's not very apparent on the outset, so I just want to share that info with you. Okay, so that's that side of it done. Now let's play what's in the bag. Approximately 24 Canadian dollars, which equates to this worth of components. Yes, 24 Canadian dollars. So here we go. We have a box which will house the battery and the PI-Star. That's the intention. 2 USB cables. These are USB type A to type B, so that basically means I can't cut it. Safety first. Basically means it's the standard original larger type of connector, which connects into the battery bank to pick its power up, or into a computer or into a cell phone charger. and the smaller end is a micro USB, which is what connects into the PI-Star here, into the furthest one that way as we look at it. So I have two of these cables. Why do I have two? Safety first. Why do I have two? One is to provide a short link inside the box for the battery bank round to the PI-Star, and the other one is going to be plugged into the top of the battery and come out of the box. So it's just a short cable like that, and that's all I will have left. I won't be carrying around a battery bank and a box and a cable, etc. It'll all just be one thing. It doesn't bother me so much, because once you have the SD card in the PI-Star and it's running, you don't need to touch it again, because every other connection will be through Wi-Fi. Now the only other thing we have there is a little on-off switch. You can choose what you like. This is just literally an on-off, it's not a on-off-on. So that will go in there, and I will just put some kind of mark on there, on, and an arrow that way, so that you can just flick it or flick it off. Because once all this stuff's packed inside the box here, you've got no way of switching the PI-Star off. So to pick up the power, my intention is you flick the switch and the power comes from the battery bank, and then between the battery bank and the PI-Star, this cable will be broken out, and the red lead, in fact I will just use this as a donor cable. I will terminate the green and white, which is data, and just use the red and black for power supply straight onto the PI-Star hotspot, which has got a Raspberry Pi something or other, I forget. Before I do that, I'm going to test the Raspberry Pi stroke hotspot to see where the 5 volts and the ground are on these pins, and I will solder the wires straight to the pins eventually. I guess I could research on the internet some Spot Pi. Do we know what this is? Yes, here we go. A Raspberry Pi 2017 Pi 0W version 1.1. Let's clarify that. Yeah, much easier. Raspberry Pi 0W V1.1. So a quick Google of that would tell us the pinouts here, what we're expecting. But these look pretty easy just to solder a wire onto. Another way I would do it is I would touch the metallic case of this USB here, or this USB here. Pretty much guaranteed that's going to be ground, and then just go along with a voltmeter and find 5 volts on there. It shows up near the antenna end here is pin 1. It doesn't say anything else, so you can see. What to do? I'm going to plug it into the battery bank and just do it with the DMM, see what we find. Okay, let's see what we can find. Multimeter, DC volts, 20 is the next highest range I've got above 5. I'll put that there. Can you see that? Probably. Just let's go up a fraction. There we go. So as I said, 20 volt DC range. I'm going to tab the ground of this USB here and just probe along, see what I can find. Not very easy to do. Okay, 3.3, 5 volts, 5 volts, 3.3. As there's multiple 5 volts there, I think I'm going to actually do a bit of googling. Is there any other way on here we can check? Okay. So I can see on here there are some pin areas on the PCB there that we could possibly check. Again, I'll do it with respect to the ground casing there. Five volts, perfect. Nothing there. 3 volts, 1.8, 5 volts. There's a good chance that that's right next to that. That's probably what it is. Anyway, I'm going to share with you what I find on Google here. I'll probably just put a pin out up on the screen, because who likes to gamble? These things are like rocking horse manure to buy at the moment. So let's just find out which of these pins works, and if it buzzes straight through to that, I might just put a blob of solder there. Or we might get a 5 volt on ground here. Let's see what's what and we'll come back. Okay, so what we found is that there are two 5 volts together and then a ground. Does it say which pin? It shows it this way up. Yeah. So what it shows here is that at the antenna end here up on the top board there should be two 5 volts and then a ground. So I can confirm that with using the multimeter on there, and let's see if that's the case, and then I can with the power supply just feed that power temporarily just to see if it powers up. Okay, so the third pin here, almost need to tape this down to stop it moving. The third pin here should be ground. With respect to that pin there, we should get 5 volts. Yes, we have got 5 volts, and then pin 2, I say pin from the top down, pin 1, 2, 3, it probably isn't that. In fact it isn't, because it shows on the board closest to the multimeter is pin 1. Perhaps we can clarify that in a minute, but let's just check that we've got 5 volts across the end pin and the third one in, and then the second pin and the third one in. Okay, that's good. So I suspect that these pins are joined together with 5 volts, and that's ground, and that would be great just to be put a red and black straight across there. Red on the end here, black on the 3rd pin down. We can experiment. I can either break out the USB cable from the battery bank now, or do it from a power supply. I think I should just break out the battery bank one right now. Okay, so I'm going to pull the power from here, from the battery bank. I'm going to prepare one of these cables. I'm simply going to snip the micro USB end off. Tools would be good. Snippers and a knife. So we're just going to, obviously it's not connected to a battery when I'm doing it. Just going to chop the connector straight off there. She's in the garbage. Strip it out. I'm going to take it back about probably an inch or so. This is a cheap garbage cable, I would think, at $2.50. I don't expect the quality to be too high inside. I'm just kind of breaking through the insulation. And pulling her out there. See what happens. Not too easy. So the insulation's not cheap, we know that. There we go. I'll break the braid out. At this time I'm just going to spiral the braid up off the side there in case the braid is actually the connection. I very much doubt, but let's see. Tear the foil off. Now, we don't actually need the green and white here. I'm just going to snip those out at slightly different lengths so they don't short out on each other. And then we'll put a bit of heat shrink sleeving over those in a minute. What I'm interested in is, are we going to get 5 volts across the red and black? So there's your green and white are gone, and on here there's probably 2 or 3 mil difference in the height of them, so they're not going to contact, and for this test right now it's not a problem. What we're going to do, we're just going to knife the end slightly. I just score it and then pull it off with my nails. Target to get a red and black. There we go. So all this stuff is insulated. The braid is folded back, the green is the next one, then the white. So none of those are making contact with each other, and I'm expecting to plug this into the power bank and get 5 volts across the red and black here. So providing, safety first, providing we don't short anything out there, we're not going to have a fire. So let's see if indeed we get 5 volts across red and black. Still on the 20 volt DC setting because it's more than 2 volts but less than 20 volts. Might be stating the bleeding obvious, but there we go. 2.37 volts. Something screwy there. do it across the braid. 2.37 volts. Is that because it hasn't sensed the load? Or have I stuffed up? There we go, hadn't sensed the load. So the battery bank obviously just idles and drops back when there's no current. So now let's try again, just to be doubly sure. 5 volts, 5 volts, perfect. Now, knowing that that is 5 volts there, I'm going to take a bit of a gamble, and I'm going to put them on, as I say here, the top pin, which is not pin 1, it is pin on the screen, and not the next one but the one after. Okay, so if we remember, the first two pin numbers and on the screen were 5 volts, and the third pin in, pin number, was ground, 0. So I'm making sure I'm not going to cause any fires here. My intention is to see if I can manage to hold these on there long enough. I really should just solder the ground and touch the red temporarily, but if I can hold them on long enough to see if the thing powers up, and we know we've got the right pins. Okay, so I'm going to first touch the ground there and press with my finger. Yeah, it was lighting up, but it is difficult to do, so I'm actually going to solder the ground like I said, because it's just too finicky to try and hold it on there. Is it easier on the bottom or the top? Doesn't really make much odds. Really doesn't make much odds. Thinking inside the box, if this was actually mounted in the box like this, probably connecting to the top makes more sense because the cable can come up through the box. So that's what we shall aim for. So the next part of this, I'm going to tin off the red and black there. There's very short amount of wire there, and I'm going to literally solder them end straight on there so they're not going to short out on anything either side of them, and we'll redo the test. In your absence, I've cut a couple of pieces of heat shrink, one smaller diameter to slide over the white and green, and one larger to slide over the whole lot, just to I guess make it safe. I have a soldering iron set up and warming up right now, and we're going to go. So I'm first going to slide on the small piece of heat shrink just to cover the white and green data, and I'm just going to use the back of the soldering iron there to warm them up. I do have a hot air gun, but there's no real need. And I'm going to slide the larger piece of heat shrink over, and that's going to cover that piece of braid as well. Same thing. You only need to have it just so that it doesn't slide off. Smells good. That's it. That's all I'm going to do there. So that's made that safe. The red and the black, the red and the black I'm just going to tin out. Just spiral up. I've got the magnified headset because that makes things much easier to view. And I do have helping hands somewhere, but I'm not using them. Improvise. That's looking a bit crappy. Let's tin that off again. Yeah, we're good. Honking great soldering iron for this job. complete overkill. Tinned, and as we're tinning those, the heat's pulling the insulation back, so I'm going to be snipping the ends off. Again, these cutters are way too big, just use normal side cutters. But as I say, improvisation. Right, then we're going to solder the ground, the black, to the third pin here. I'm not really confident enough yet to solder the red one down. I guess I could use heat shrink here again, but not really necessary. Okay, can we see? Maybe not. I have too much solder on that tip. There we go, she's just tinned enough. So, nothing connected to the power supply end of this cable. I can hear people all over the world saying, "Oh, what are you doing?" Doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's done. That's a nice connection onto there, and it's nowhere near any alternative pins, right? So now I can connect this battery bank up, leave this red wire floating, and then my intention is to put it on the first pin there, which we determined was another pin number, just to see if the thing powers up. I could verify after 2 minutes with my cell phone in the sharing the hotspot stator. So there's the hotspot turned on, and we will see. Can we see? We can't see on the screen probably, but that says hotspot and on. It's Android. I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but it will show one device should we be successful with that. But first things first, let's provide it a bit of power, and I have to remember to turn this on. Oh no, it should turn itself on, shouldn't it, with sensing the current that's going to draw. Small pair of pliers. I'm going to touch it, just the red wire, onto the first pin, see if things light up. Yeah, they're lighting up. It's doing its stuff. I can tell with the Raspberry Pi board underneath, the lights are flashing away. I'm going to disconnect the power again now, make this safe, just while I solder that red down onto the board there, and then we'll do the full test, see if it powers up, see if it shows up on the phone. Right, here we do go then. Just gonna put some more solder on that first pin, make it hot. Double checking again, there's no power applied. Bit paranoid about that. Simple as that. They are good connections, good to go. Soldering iron off. Don't believe we're going to need that again. So now, at this stage, I'm going to power this up entirely, and then check on the cell phone that it's connecting to the hotspot. So here we go. It's on. Power lights on there. These LEDs under here are flickering. So I believe that's starting up with the normal process there. Let's just leave it like that. Pray. We'll sit back in a moment. Fast forward magically through 2 minutes. Where's this number? So we're doing another set of claps here. Stuffed up, I didn't have the microphone on there, so the atrocious audio, apologise about. But in short, we've soldered the red and black there to the end pin, and then 2 pins away is the black. It appears to be powering up alright, I see no reason why it shouldn't. Just waiting for the point where we can check on the cell phone that it shows as a device connected, and indeed it says 1 device. So that now is connected. Let's do this a whole line here. Radio talking to the Hotspot Pi, Hotspot Pi talking to the cell phone via tethering, and cell phone talking to the internet via the cell phone network. There's the complete setup. So that little part of the project is a success. The next thing is we're going to be sticking this into the box here. With a slight notch there for the cable and a hole for the switch. So that will come in video.
So this video, if you like it, our video, comment down below or thumbs up.
Thanks for watching VA3SII. Bye.